Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Warrior Class Autobot Drift from Transformers Cyberverse Power of the Spark. I had honestly considered not buying any more Warrior Class figures for Cyberverse. I'm really enjoying the armors that they're doing, and the little figures that come with the armors are really nice, well articulated. They don't have any goofy gimmicks, so they don't suffer from any weird functionality problems. I mean, the armors sometimes do, but at least it's contained to the armors, and the figures that come with the armors are just great in my opinion. And I was really soured with this guy. Deadlock was a really bad figure. I was transforming it just now from vehicle mode to robot mode for this video, and his arm fell off. I had to pop it back on. I mean, it pops right back on, but just stupid stuff like that. These swords don't really stay in anymore. It's just a bad toy. So you're probably thinking to yourself, then why are you driving yourself mad with another one? You're probably right to ask this question, but he looks much better. Like, I wish I had known that this was happening before I bought the other one, because I didn't know about this. But he's also got like a weird swing slash with a rope. I don't know what's happening. Let's just figure it out. Here's the other three that are available. I did also pick up Jetfire, so I'll take a look at him at some point as well. So yeah, let's just get this guy out of the box and see what we're dealing with. Here he is out of the packaging. First thing to note, very important thing, in the packaging he is mistransformed. This is not how his shoulders should be. You actually rotate these large shoulder pads like that. That is important for a couple reasons. One, it makes the gimmick work, which we'll get to in a minute. Two, you wouldn't be able to move the articulation here in this elbow if you had them straight down, because they butt up against each other. And three, it just looks better. It looks a lot better than having them the other way. He looks alright. He doesn't really have a ton of kibble or anything. Really giant hollow back of his legs back here. Head sculpt is kind of basic. It's a little hard to see because these things cast such shadow. But kind of standard silver painted face with blue eyes. Not too bad. Autobot symbol on the chest there is pretty good. This weird sword thing is kind of terrible. We'll get there in a minute. Articulation wise, you can move the head side to side, ball joint in the shoulders, ball joint in the elbow there, the forearm and hand, one solid piece. This thing is for the transformation. You push this down, but it doesn't really lock into place in robot mode, so anytime you try to move the figure, it kind of slides a little bit, which is annoying. It's not a huge problem, but it is annoying. Because you can see, like, it just, when you pick it up, then you have to kind of constantly push it back in. But ball joint in the hip, it's going to be 180 degrees in the knee because of the transformation, but, you know, however much you want to do in robot mode. And then this just really, the, like, ankle just goes forward and back again for transformation. So, see, the thing keeps riding up. It's kind of annoying. The other thing is, I keep feeling like this, like the way he kind of leans back because of how his ankles are, I feel like this should go more forward, and I guess you could technically, but you can see I kind of just popped it off there, so it's not really meant to do that. So you kind of have to like tilt him forward. I still think he's an improvement over Deadlock when you put the two next to each other. I mean, Deadlock looks so much more plain and fat and just awkwardly proportioned. Drift looks much better in that regard, I think. Like, the torso looks better, the shoulder pads look better, legs look about the same. But he's got this big goofy kibble on his back. He's got a little bit of kibble, but it's much better. So I definitely think he's a better figure than Deadlock. Not that that was difficult to do. But we'll move on here to the gimmick. So how this works, you can see here that there is a little purple like lever right there. And how this is supposed to work is you push this down, it will click into place, and then you push the shoulder forward until this white piece of the shoulder hits that. So you push this down, and that flips up. And that's it. Which wouldn't be terrible if it was just a blade. I mean, it's not amazing. But see, they give you this weird blade on a string, like, sword nunchuck. I don't know what the purpose of this is, but you're supposed to slide this in, and then I think the force of the flick is supposed to make it pop out, but it doesn't always work. Plus, it's hard to like make this happen without being in the way of the blade where it's coming. So most of the time it just does that. Now if you want to just leave it out, click it back, and then just kind of... But see, it doesn't really do anything. And maybe I'm doing it wrong. It's very possible. I mess things up a lot. I just don't... Like I said, the whole thing, being a sword nunchuck is weird to me. It reminds me of... wasn't that like a thing back when they did that parody of Final Fantasy sword chucks? Wasn't that a gimmick? Wasn't that a joke? Anyway, that's what this feels like. So most of the time it doesn't fling it out. If you push it and just leave it out, it kind of flicks it around, but it's really lame. I don't know. I almost wish like this was just a solid sword. Really, I wish it was just another normal arm, and then this would be a decent little figure. But the gimmick is not so intrusive that it ruins the rest of the figure, so at least it has that going for it. I mean, the shoulder pad can pretty much just lock into place. If you don't care about the gimmick, you could just lock it down, and then this just won't be able to like stay down. It'll just stay out. But it's spring-loaded anyway, so if you lock that button down, all that's doing is leave it in the released position. It's a stupid gimmick. It's a really stupid gimmick. If you wanted, you could cut the rope off. Maybe glue that in place so it doesn't fall out. I don't know. He's a decent figure, but it's a really stupid gimmick. Alright, let's check out transformation. So you're going to have to push this down, and this needs to lock in place, so you're going to have to pop that up. But then you have to put the shoulders back how they were in the packaging, because obviously that's how it is for vehicle mode. So you're going to pull this down like I showed earlier to hide the head. The directions tell you to do this last, but it's got these giant tabs, and they have to go into the two arms. So I think it's better to do it now, because that way as you push these up, it can tab into the sides of that, which is already difficult enough doing it in this order. But also you have to like get these giant tabs right here where my thumb is underneath the hood of the car. So it's just a giant tab mess. But once you get it, okay, they're tabbed in, great. So there you go. But it's still, see how it's still not really, oh, you know what? There it is. That has to get underneath. So many weird tabs and lips and things that have to, so like there's a small plastic lip underneath there that you have to make sure is underneath. So there you go. It's in, it's tabbed in, it should stay together. Fold these things in the back, peg this together, and then this whole thing is going to go over top of this. So make sure it clears the sword. But now you have to like this doesn't quite fit under there, and this is going over top of this, but it's not supposed to. So you kind of have to like wiggle this down and then pull this out. It's just, because it's so stylized, I think nothing really lines up unless you like force it. So I feel like over time you're going to warp the plastic because you're constantly having to like pull things to get them to line up. I mean, once it's together, okay, fine. It holds together fairly well. And the car looks okay, but the transformation is kind of a pain in the butt because you have so many like weird plastic tabs and things that have to fit under certain places, and it's just kind of a bit of a mess, really. It's less fun than it should be. I wanted to do a quick comparison with Deadlock in vehicle mode. I really like the addition of the Autobot symbol here on the hood of the car. So he's got one on his chest and he's got one on the hood, whereas Deadlock just has that same Decepticon symbol on the roof of the car because it becomes his chest. Underneath, you can kind of see they both hold a little bit of robot kibble. He's got a little bit more than Deadlock does, but he doesn't have to worry about these stupid spring-loaded things constantly popping out. I do like the kind of foot spoiler back here. I actually kind of like that, but I don't mind that this guy doesn't have it. So honestly, I think Drift has the better paint job. I mean, they both have the red and the blue. He's got the silver on the sides as opposed to the silver here in the grill. They both have the same back windows not painted, which is a bummer. So I would say they probably have about the same amount of paint, just maybe in slightly different spots. But I don't know. I think Drift just looks like a more solid car. He's a little bit shorter. Just the proportions look a little bit better. And I really like the Autobot symbol on the hood of the car there. So at the end of the day, is this a great figure? No. It's a decent Warrior class figure for the Cyberverse line. That's a loaded statement. When it comes to the Warrior class figures for Cyberverse, they all have these goofy gimmicks, and some of them get in the way more so than others. So some of them are manageable, some of them are downright terrible. I would say Deadlock is one of the worst I've seen. This guy is definitely leaps and bounds above Deadlock. And I do appreciate the fact that they wanted to do both the Autobot and the Decepticon version of this character. I appreciate the fact that they did two distinct separate molds. I just wish they were both good. This one is decent. I don't think I've ever really had a Cyberverse toy in the Warrior class that I've thought is a perfect figure that's blown me away. I really like the figures that come with the Spark Armors because some of them do have the goofy gimmicks, but they're confined to the Spark Armor. The figure that you get is a fun, little, nicely articulated version of the character from the show, and I think those are good. Now, we just saw these at New York Comic Con, these crazy, nicely detailed, like, Warrior class figures that are, like, basically what we should have gotten from the beginning, something that's kind of on par with Siege, and I wish we had gotten them from day one. So in the meantime, should you buy more of these kind of Warrior class figures? Probably not. I found this at Walmart for like $11.50 or something like that, so they're even getting reduced in price. So I feel like for $10, this is fun. Give it to a kid. He'd probably have a good time with it. I think the gimmick's kind of dumb. Doesn't really work, but it's better than Deadlock. So if you're looking for a version of this character because you don't know if it's going to happen in the new updated Warrior class, or you're just looking for, because I'm sure that updated Warrior class is probably going to be 20, whereas this was 12 or 11.50 or whatever it was. So for the price, I think this is a decent figure. If you're looking for a representation of this character in Cyberverse, I definitely recommend it over Deadlock. But there have been plenty of Drift figures throughout the years. Track yourself down a Generations Drift and get that guy, because that was a great figure. Even the one they repainted into Blur, I thought was a good toy. This is just passable at best. So I'm rambling at this point, but this guy's okay, not great. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching.